Welcome to another episode of TikToks. If you're someone who just started listening or have been listening to us since day one, we want you to know that you matter to us and we are so grateful for your support.
If you have any comments, questions, or topic suggestions na gusto nyong pagkwentuhan namin sa show, mag-send lang kayo ng message through our email, jilly.dave04@gmail.com.
Or you can send us a DM on our personal social accounts, Dave Jan Aragon or Jilly Nicomedes, both on Facebook and Instagram.
Enjoy listening!
Hi everyone! Good morning. Yes, because we are recording early in the morning for this episode. So, welcome again to TikToks. This is a podcast where we try to navigate life by styling our minds one candid conversation at a time. Again, my name is Jilly and I am with Dave. And today we are joined by a very special guest. But before that, I would like to go through the topic that we are going to talk about today. Long story short, we are going to talk about handling criticisms and as well as giving out criticism without being rude or condescending siguro. And for this kwentuhan, let's try to dive into the art of positive phraseology so as to water down the negative impact of our
Mm.
criticisms. How do we effectively tell people what we think and get a favorable response? Okay, so as mentioned, we are joined by a very special guest. Dave, can you please introduce her?
Yeah, we have here Hannah, guys. So for those people who have been listening our podcast since day one, so alam nyo na, maybe you know who Hannah is. So for those people naman na they've just listened to our podcast ngayon during the season 2 comeback, Hannah is my friend. Also, kasama ko siya sa isang mental health organization. We are both volunteers as a crisis line responder. So I'm pretty sure na this topic, Hannah will be able to impart a lot of, her knowledge and wisdom. Yes, in terms of
Pressure.
giving
Knowledge
positive
and wisdom.
phraseology and constructive criticism because she's really good at it, guys. Talagang grabe. Kahit naiinis na siya, sobrang parang kalmang-kalma yung mga pananalita niya. So, yeah. Welcome back, Hannah. How are you doing?
Thank you, ladies. Yeah, I'm so happy to be back here. And again, I'm really, really honored. So, thank you so much for trusting me enough on this topic again. So, na-pressure ako ng konti, but it's okay. So, I really want to impart then my experiences or just like some tips kasi I'm not really an expert nga, again, as always. But I do have experience on that. So, I hope you guys would be able to take away again from this podcast. And yeah, let's just enjoy, ganun.
Okay. Thank you, Hannah. Okay, so yeah, guys, let's start with our topic right now. So, the first one, like what Jilly said earlier, is we're going to tell you guys the importance of criticisms or giving positive feedback to all the people around us, diba? How will it benefit our relationships with other people and also sa work? It's very important, or for the students who are studying as well. So, okay, let me just ask you guys a question, and maybe to our listeners as well, you can answer on your own, you can write it down, whatever.
Mhm.
So, why do you think giving constructive criticism or positive feedback is important to our daily lives? Yes, daily lives talaga.
Oh,
Go.
sige.
Yeah.
My short view on it is, sa tingin ko, some people or people in general, they don't like criticisms that well, even if it's done for good reasons. Some people, they often feel attacked, and it's normal na kapag ka nag-criticize ka, they put up their defensives as a normal reaction. So I think being able to handle criticisms and at the same time being able to have the ability to give out constructive criticism is important if you want to be productive either in the office or at school or with your relationships with your friends and family in general kasi we don't like the feeling of letting the chance slip para masabi natin yung mga gusto nating sabihin, di ba?
That's so
It's,
good. Ikaw, Hannah, what do you think?
yeah. So I agree with Julie. It's really important for you to be productive and yeah, nandun yung natural reaction of people na when you receive criticism, nagkakaroon ka ng defenses kasi somehow it feels like a personal attack na parang, yo, whoa, ano ba ginawa ko sa'yo? Bakit mo ako sinasabihin ng ganyan? Kasi, ayun nga, may criticism that you can receive sa work or school if you're still a student. Meron din sa relationships. Ayan, that can be friendships or romantic relationships. Minsan sa pamilya din. But the importance of receiving and giving criticism is for ourselves as well. Self-improvement. It's for you to communicate kung ano ba yung nasa sa loobin mo. And for you then, on a receiving end, it's for you to know and to be somehow aware na, oh, may ganito pala akong nakikita ng ibang tao. It depends on your attitude as well. It's really all about your intentions. If you are well intentioned on giving and receiving a criticism, then it will really promote you to growth and development as a person. And ayun nga, I just wanted to define lang din siguro yung difference between criticism and feedback. Criticism is the expression of disapproval of someone or something based on perceived faults or mistakes. So para maririnig mo pa lang, parang mga negative na yung mga highlight kapag nagbigay ng criticism or kapag nag-receive ka ng criticism. And feedback, on the other hand, is information about reactions to a product or like a service, a person's performance of a task, etc., which is used as a basis for improvement.
Mhm.
That's so good, Hannah. And sabi ko naman sa inyo kanina, guys, di ba, Hannah has so many insightful na may impart regarding this criticism. May pa-research pa siya. And yeah, ang ganda na lang sinabi nila. But to add, totoo rin yung sinabi ni Hannah na parang we can get it to our relatives, to our friends, to our relationships. And ito, very, very common nowadays that we often receive criticisms pa rin. At ito malala, from the strangers or from the people who don't know us, who barely know
Mhm.
us, 'di ba? Ang medyo talagang madalas nakaka-experience nito are people who are famous, 'di ba? Yan, mga celebrity, mga influencers, mga vloggers or whatever na parang prone sila sa criticism or iba bashing na nga. Yun yung and siguro yun another thing na why criticisms or giving feedback is very important kasi of course it helps us to give us a new perspective and it opens our eyes, 'di ba nga, to things that we may have overlooked or yung mga hindi natin na-consider before, like what Hannah said na parang, may ganito pala akong attitude. Kasi sometimes, how we see ourselves, it's different on how others see us. So, yon.
So, ngayon, let's dive deep into the experiences that we have gone through in terms of criticism. Ano ba yung mga worst experiences that you guys were able to manage, or yung
Mm-mm.
mga criticism gone wrong? You are in the situation where you wanted to say something to that people, pero you feel like you're not in the position to tell that
Mm.
thing to that person. So,
Yeah.
ayun, share lang kayo ng mga experiences nyo guys in terms of giving or receiving criticism.
But sige, one profound experience that I would be able to share is yung sa profession ko, I guess. Currently, I'm an online English teacher. So, ayan, I've been doing this for almost 5 years already.
Wow.
And yeah, almost every day din ako nagtuturo. And yeah, yung mga teaching or classes ko are mostly one-on-one with Japanese students. So as an English teacher or tutor, we were taught or we were trained to give feedback dun sa students, lalo na if they make mistakes, ganito ganyan. Tapos may kita mo din sa profile ng student kung gusto ba nila ng corrections or up
Yeah.
to us, teachers, or kung gusto talaga nila na proactive yung pagbigay mo ng corrections. And I also make sure most of the time before we start our lesson, I always ask the student, so after our introduction, sasabihin ko, do you want me to correct your mistakes during this lesson? So it just gives them that, that parang meron silang consent nila, or merong akong consent nila na okay lang na ako magbigay ng corrections nila. So
Mhm.
when they say yes, edi sige, edi proactive ako magko-correct. So
Mhm.
minsan, I also ask them after that, do you want me to correct you immediately or after the whole lesson? So when they say immediately, edi gagawin ko rin yun. Tapos tatanungin ko pa ulit, tatanungin ko pa further, do you want me to cut you while you're speaking? Is it okay with you? Or do you want me to tell you after you finish your sentences or after you finish pronouncing the words? This is sabihin nila, yun, sabihin nila preference nila. And anyway, going back dun sa experience ko, meron akong isang student na medyo fluent na siya. And then I asked him if he wants me to correct him. Sabi niya yes. Tapos tinanong ko ba immediately? Sabi niya yes, immediately please. So sabi ko, okay, sige, that's parang ako as a teacher, wow, that's great. This student really wants to learn. And then, ayun na, nagla-lesson na kami. Una, may mga mistake siya sa pronunciation. Tapos, so parang kinokorek ko siya. Like he said, it's okay with him if I cut him, ganito, ganyan. Tapos, una, receptive naman siya. But eventually, siguro napapansin niya na medyo maraming mistakes. Tapos,
Mm.
nagalit siya. As in, nairita na siya. I mean,
Paano?
masa-sense mo kasi yun, di ba, sa boses nila, parang bigla na lang sila tatahimik. Tapos nung second time, paano napapansin ko talaga, super down na siya. Kasi minsan sa grammar na din, nagkakamali na rin siya.
Mm.
Tapos, sabi niya, why are you always correcting my mistakes? Tapos ako, nagulat ako. I'm like, isn't this what you asked for? Parang, I was so confused kasi like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
siya
di ba
naman
Yeah.
nagtanong.
hinihingi
Siya naman
mo?
nagsabi.
I mean, I also asked you in the beginning of the lesson, pero hindi ko siya ginanon at that
Oo.
moment.
Mm.
So sabi ko lang at that time na, so are you starting to feel upset about this? Tapos sabi niya, well, tapos bigla siya medyo nag-react na nga. Parang sabi niya,
Mhm.
yeah, I feel like I'm not good enough, ganito, ganyan, blah, blah, blah. So, ang ginawa ko na lang for that is parang ako yung nag-adjust. Sabi ko na lang na, okay, so it seems like you're getting upset with this method of correction. Is it okay if I would just if I would make a suggestion? Can I just give the corrections after this lesson so you can review it? And then we can just focus on the discussion so you don't have to feel bad and we can just enjoy the conversation. Sabi niya, yeah, I think that would be good enough. Tapos sabi ko like, okay, great.
Yeah.
It's a bad experience kasi somehow nagulat ako. Parang it kind of like made me think then na sometimes nga, some people appear to, ano pa na ba? Some people make it look like they are receptive to feedback. Pero in the end, hindi pala sila okay. And that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. They're figuring things out. But when the emotions arise or pag di na nila na manage yung emotions nila, as a person na nagbibigay ng feedback, I think we have to be sensitive enough to be able
Yeah.
to detect that. Na parang, okay, parang hindi siya okay. And I
Mhm.
think di niya rin ma-receive na maayos yung correction. So, counterproductive yun if ever for the both of us. So, ayun. Yun na yung share ko. I hope that's okay.
Yeah,
Ang
it's
ganda
okay.
nun.
Oo.
Oo.
And
Alam
si
yan
Ate
ni
I
Jilly.
Jilly,
agree
I'm
dun.
sure, kasi same sila ng, nagtuturo din siya. Ikaw ba, Ate Jilly, may ganun ka din bang na-encounter or kahit hindi doon, something like that?
Well, unlike Hannah, since she's been doing it for 5 years, ako kasi parang a few months pa lang di ba? Pero
Yeah.
hindi ako yung type na I will ask if the student wants me to
Mm-mm.
correct his sentences. Ako more on kapaan. Like kapag ka nafe-feel ko na okay siya dun sa unang correction ko na, uy, nice, okay yung reaction, ganyan. So,
Yeah.
ibig sabihin,
Open-minded siya
G
sa
siya na,
feedback. Mm-mm.
G siya na kino-correct ko siya. But at the same time, meron ding students na siya yung nagsabi na i-correct ko siya. Pero every time na kino-correct ko na siya or nagkakamali siya, sobrang yung itsura niya, sobrang upset na. Pero
Oh.
yung reaction niya na yon, I know that it's because he's disappointed at himself more than he's
Yeah.
upset na
Mm-mm.
pino-point out ko yung
True.
corrections niya.
Yeah.
Pero I agree na some people, kahit hindi sa teaching, pero some people kapag ka nagsabi ka ng feedback, they will make you feel like they're receptive to it, pero at the same time, meron palang resentment or natatagong feelings na parang, grabe, sino ka ba para magbigay ng ganyang feedback? Hindi naman tayo close. Pero dung
Yeah.
tinanong mo in the first place if it's okay if I give you my um, reaction or yung thoughts ko on what you said. Sabi niya, oh sige, sure. Of course, no problem, ganyan. Tapos
Yeah.
biglang after maririnig mo sa ibang tao pa na hindi pala ganun yung reaction niya, di ba?
So, ayun, I've learned a lot of lessons from what you guys have shared ngayong morning. Like yung kay Hannah na parang it's okay to ask a question to the person if they're comfortable to hear those kinds of criticism. And also, habang nagkukwento kayo, parang realize ko, important then na we know the cultural background of the person. I mean, giving criticisms and giving feedback, it doesn't only apply lang naman sa ating mga Pilipino.
True.
Diba? So, let's say, for example, you work abroad or you're working with people from different country, from different culture. So, tama din yung sinabi ni Jilly na you have to be sensitive enough. Parang, yun, tignan niyo yung facial expression nila. Maybe, baka napipikon na yan, ganyan. Tapos, akala nila okay lang sa kanilang tumanggap ng criticism but in reality, hindi talaga sila ready. And totoo din yun na sometimes they feel bad about themselves. Hindi naman sa'yo sila naiinis, kundi naiinis. Naka-relate ako dun kay Japanese. Hindi kasi ganun ako before. Naka-relate ako kasi ganyan ako before. Parang pag binibigyan ako criticism, parang I feel so bad about myself. Kasi ano ba yan? Parang wala man lang ako ginawang tama, ganun. So, at the end of the day, syempre, you'll still be thankful parang to the person who gave the feedback to you.
Now that we've shared some of the experiences we've gone through in terms of criticism, now let's ask the very important question na how do we effectively give out criticism muna? Yung kung tayo yung nasa position na we have to say something out or we have to express something but we're kind of uncomfortable expressing it because we're not sure what the other people is gonna feel or kung ano yung response na makukuha natin. So I guess, as we said a while ago, handling criticisms well is a good thing. But giving out criticism, I think it's the part that requires talent, diba? So yeah, guys, what are the tips on how to effectively give out criticisms?
Okay. Sige, ako muna yung sagot dito. Yun. Number one, siguro, what I've learned from the past experience, kasi I'm very prangka din, and my friends know this, na ito yung isa sa mga attitude ko talaga, is, number one, is know if you're in the right position to give criticism. So, I think if you're friends with someone, if you're super close, or if you're workmates, and your objective naman is to improve the tandem that you guys had, yung teamwork, yung team nyo sa office or whatsoever, I think that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Diba? Walang masama dun. But if you're giving a criticism para mema lang, wala. Gusto ko lang magsabi. Kasi ito yung na-observe ko. Or, yun, sa social media, you barely know the person. You just met him once. You just met that person twice. Or, masama pa nito, never mo pang na-meet in person, virtual pa lang, na-judge mo na siya based sa posts niya, tapos nag-comment ka doon, nagbigay ka ng constructive criticism, whatever. I think it's not right. And also, kumakalat din nowadays ngayon, yung, di ba kayo, English teachers kayo, parang, pag merong nag-post online, na mali yung grammar, or like, mali yung...
grammar Nazi, gano'n.
Oo, tapos magko-comment sila doon.
Oo. Ganon ka ba, Hana? Baka ganon ka.
Hindi
ako din. Ako talaga
sayang sa
never.
energy. Parang, hayaan ko na sila.
Oo, tsaka parang, lagi din nating isipin na parang, sometimes the person is really trying hard to improve themselves.
Yeah.
It doesn't only apply in English. And it's okay to try hard. Diba? Na parang, trying hard ako to improve myself. Trying hard ako to work out, to lose weight. Trying hard ako to become a better person. It doesn't, hindi yun masama. So, parang, natatawa talaga ako sa iba. Nagko-comment pa na may asterisk. Nagko-comment sila doon, ito yung grammar. So, I think, kung di naman close yung tao, or kahit sabi natin teacher, ka or whatever
It's
linguist
not
ka,
your
Mhm.
place.
they're not you're not in the right position to do that. And also, if you're
Mhm.
really concerned, di mo tigil yung bibig mo, maybe you can send a message, send a DM to the
Yeah.
person instead of
DM na
commenting
lang.
everything on social media. And then also another one, I think you guys are all aware is giving the sandwich technique method na
Yeah.
parang you give a constructive criticism, you give a feedback, and then also you have to highlight the positive things that they've done. So it's like, for example, example, you're a leader in an organization, tapos meron kang subordinate na dati nakaka-deliver siya lagi ng task, ng deliverables, and then suddenly biglang di na siya nakakapagpasa, hindi siya nakaka-attend ng meeting. Instead of like asking the person, oh, ba't wala ka? Tapos papahiyain mo in front of everyone. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's better to know more, to know more muna what happened to that person, bakit hindi na siya nakapag-deliver on time. So, probe questions, parang, how are you? Is there any
Yeah.
problem? Make them feel na you're not trying to condescend nga, yung sabi ni Jilly nung
Yeah.
kanina sa introduction. And hindi mo sinusubukang maliitin siya or parang wala kang naaambag dito, parang kabigat dito. So yun,
Okay.
that's it, the sandwich technique. Tapos try mong i-highlight yung positive na ginawa niya. You know what? Before, you've been so very active in our org, napapasa mo siya on time, tapos wala kang absent. Kaso ngayon, ganito, what went wrong? Parang ganon, I think. Kayo ba? Kayo?
Mm-hmm.
Anong ano nyo? Any tips na pag kayo yung
Yeah.
nagbibigay?
So yeah, I totally agree with you, Dave, na yung sinabi mo na there are really people who just want to correct others just to feel good about themselves. Yung sinabi mo na magko-comment ka pa para lang mapakita sa lahat na alam mo yung sinasabi mo. So,
Kaloka.
for some people, I know, hindi nyo man aminin, pero those moments can be satisfying. But you have to really think about it. If the feedback is not really needed, or it doesn't really have to come from you, then maybe it's best not to say anything at all. So you have to really think about it if it really needs to be said. And then for my tips naman on how to give out criticism, I guess napakinggan ko to sa isang TED Talks also. The four stages or four important elements that you have to think about or that you have to have is una is yung confidence. Syempre, you have to have the courage or the gut to speak up or to tell something even if it makes you uncomfortable. And the secret is in the way you deliver it. Yung sinasabi nga nila na positive phraseology, I think nagpo-fall under doon yung feedback sandwich kasi you're not just giving out criticism but you're also highlighting the positive things that
Yeah.
they have done. So, yun. So, for example, nasa meeting, tapos napansin mo na yung isa mong member is hindi masyadong nagsasalita, yung parang sa kanya ka mas nag-expect ng feedback or ng ideas, pero siya yung walang naambag or walang nasasabi, pwedeng mong hindi yung, I mean, sometimes people, they say na, maybe you can speak up more in meetings, yung direct.
Yeah.
Pero, alam mo yun, pwede mong sabihin na, I'd love to hear you speak up more in meetings. I am so looking
Yeah.
forward to your
Mm.
I
thoughts.
love
Alam mo
that.
yun, di ba? Yung mga
Totoo. That's totally
positive
true.
phraseology. Yung sabi nga nila na it's not about what you're saying, but how you say it. So, ayun, confidence.
Yeah.
And you
Mm.
Nailed.
have to have the
Totoo.
intent. Yung sinabi nga natin kanina.
Mm-mm.
If your intention is to just mamahiya and to feel good about yourself, wag na lang.
No, of
Pero if
course.
your intention is to
Yeah.
be productive, or maybe if you give out this specific idea or gusto mong barilin yung idea niya because it will lead to productivity for the whole team, kailangan mong mag-speak up. So, the intent to have
Yeah.
positive outcome from saying it. And the delivery, yun nga, positive phraseology. And last one, I think this is very important, yung solutions. I think kapag ka
Mm.
nagbibigay ka
Yeah.
ng criticism, it's better if you have a solution in mind or solution oriented. Like after mong magbigay ng criticism, okay, what are the next steps that we need to do para masolusyonan yung mga nasabi natin kanina? Para hindi siya time consuming na you're just hashing out on problems pero wala namang nagagawa to solve it. So,
Totoo.
ayun. I think
Mm-mm.
solutions is very important. And also, last one is think about the timing. I think it's a very
Mm.
important
Yeah.
factor as well na always be conscious of when you choose to give your feedback because timing
Mm.
can make the difference and can define whether the person will be receptive to your comments or completely reject them. Like for
Yeah.
example, alam mo na katatapos lang siyang pagalitan ng boss nyo. Tapos meron siyang nagawa sa deadline niya na kailangan mo and nagkamali siya or something. Sa tingin
Yeah.
ko, better to hold off muna and hayaan mo muna
Yeah.
siyang ma-feel. Kasi katatapos
Mm-mm.
niya lang pagalitan, tas susunod ka pa. So magpo-pile up. If it's not too urgent or kaya namang i-hold off muna yung mga sasabihin mo, pakiramdaman mo muna, I guess.
Mm.
Kasi baka lalo lang
Yeah.
siyang ma-down or lalo lang kayong hindi maging productive pareho. So, ayun.
Okay. So yeah, that's very wonderful, Jeannie. Sobrang dami mong insights na I'm sure our listeners will be able to apply those learnings in their daily lives and situations. How about you, Hannah? Any tips?
Guys, first and foremost, I just wanted to say you guys nailed it. Yung mga binigay niyo na mga tips. So, first, you have to make sure that you have good intentions. So, like you both
Mm.
mentioned, you would know you have good intentions if you know it's for productivity and it's not to shame and you know it's for improvement, diba? And then the next thing is you have to know your position or place. Kasi parang weird din naman na kapag kunwari, kaibigan mo pala yung na-receivean, tapos ikaw magbibigay ng feedback, eh di parang nilaglag mo na rin yung kaibigan mo na,
Oo.
so,
Mhm.
pinagkakwentuhan
Totoo.
niya pala ako. Tapos parang, paano mo nalaman yan? Diba?
Yeah.
Parang, edi
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
drama na naman yun. Next thing that you also guys mentioned is know when to say things. Na pinagalitan na nga, dadagdagan mo pa. Kala mo tamang timing, but it's not really the right timing. Kasi parang
True.
nabugbog na yun inside. Kahit gaano
Exactly.
pa yan ka-strong on the outside. So
Mm-mm.
parang
Mhm.
just be sensitive enough. So build that compassion towards other people. But I think i-add ko na to na how you say things is really more about your voice, your intonation. Kasi parang let's say ganito ha. Kunwari, yung sa meeting nga, gagamitin ko yung example ni Ate Jeannie na I would appreciate it more if you would speak up. Parang ganun. Kapag yung tono ko is, you know what? I would appreciate it more if you could speak up.
That's very
Diba?
sarcastic.
Parang like, tama yung words.
Sobrang, oo.
Yeah. It's how you
Tama yung
say
words, but
things.
diba? It's how you say this. Pero kapag sinabi mo na, hey, you know what? I would really appreciate it more if you would speak up or if you would share more of your thoughts in the meeting kasi we value what you say. Diba? Parang ang laki ng difference. I mean, it's
Mm-mm.
almost the same words. And para mas magiging receptive ka. Ayun, I just wanted to add na rin, please remember this for everyone. When it comes to giving criticisms, again, I defined this earlier. Nung una, there's a big difference between criticism and feedback. So criticism is you focus on what you don't like or what you don't want dun sa tao. And you focus on the past, kasi ganito ka dati, ito ginawa mo noon. And then you focus on the weaknesses. You deflate, you discourage, pangit yung intentions mo. You promote shame. That's why people start feeling bad when you give negative criticisms. Like, criticism na nga, negative pa. And then,
Oo.
one-way communication siya. Like, parang sasabihin mo lang yung part mo na, ito yung pangit sa'yo. Ito yung kailangan mo improve. Tapos, kapag magsasalita naman yung other person, hindi ka receptive. Parang tapos na yung usapan. Gusto ko lang sabihin ko ano yung gusto ko sabihin sa'yo. Di ba parang ang pangit din ng attitude na yun?
Yeah.
So, that's something na you have to be careful about. And, ayun nga, another part of criticism or really negative criticism is ill-intentioned ka masked as good intention. So, sasabihin mo kunwari na, oh, I just wanted to give you some feedback kasi ano eh, para, you know, for us to be productive. Pero deep inside you, gusto mo lang talaga siyang i-down. Gusto mo
Yeah.
lang siyang
May
i-shame.
personal
So,
grudge ka dun sa person.
Mhm.
exactly. So, kapag nafe-feel mo na yun, kahit konti, you always have to check in with yourself. May ganun ba ako nafe-feel? Kapag meron, let's say mga 30%, that's already big enough. And give yourself
Yeah.
some time to step back for a bit until siguro maging 10% or 5% na lang yan. No,
Yeah.
you have to know like what could be some, you can make suggestions dun sa other
Suggest.
person. Yeah, na this is something
Totoo.
that you could do, ganito ganyan,
Mm-mm.
maybe, ganito ganyan. And then you focus on the future and you focus on the strengths of the person as well para medyo sandwich method then. And then you really want to inspire or encourage the person. You want to instill hope and say something like, we can do this together. And you promote two-way communication. Ganun yung sa feedback. And again, it's really well-intentioned and it's based on facts or data. Hindi lang siya minsan sa feeling ko ganito. Feeling ko kasi
Uh-huh.
ganyan, ganyan.
Mm.
But it's really factual na parang, I'm really observing na you have been late for like a few days. Tapos parang kapag tipong tinanong, paano mo nalaman yan? Ito, may data. Or parang,
Mm.
ito, you said it this way. So, ganito siya. Blah, blah, blah. Yun sa positive phraseology, I would say, when it comes to personal relationships, kapag hindi siya about, parang more on personal na talaga, na, kunwari, nagpapakiramdaman kayo, kunwari, it's really, really important to acknowledge and to take accountability of your feeling. But do not give the silent treatment. And
Yes.
then, lalo na kapag na-observe mo, it's a pattern na eh. Kasi somehow as a person, you deserve to be respected as well. And you deserve some sort of like consistency.
Mm.
And then, what you can do when you're gonna give na, you decided na kunwari, sige, sasabihan ko na to si Boyfie. You don't wanna approach him na, ayoko na kasi ano, like, lagi ka naman ganyan. Parang
Mm.
gaganin mo na siya. It's not really nice. But maybe if you want to approach it in a peaceful and more mature way, you can say, hey, I've been observing na whenever you say that we're gonna call in the evening, um, I know I know that you want to talk with me. I want to talk with you too. However, parang hindi siya natutupad all the time. I don't know if it's just me, but it happened last night, pati siguro maybe a few other nights na rin as well, but I'm not gonna mention kung kailan. I think you know din naman that as well. But if you want me to tell you when those
Mhm.
are, then maybe we can just
Meron
look back
akong
on.
list.
Parang,
Stan.
on December 1 and December 5, ganito, ganyan.
Oo. May receipt ako,
Kaloka.
may receipt ako. Alam ko 'yan, naghintay ako nitong araw na 'to. Bawat hintay mo nag-selfie ka, okay,
May
naghihintay ako.
ginanon din, nilapag lahat.
Oo.
But, so parang sasabihin mo nga na, yeah, I've been observing that. And, I feel unimportant whenever that happens. I'm not gonna pretend na okay lang yun sa akin. Kasi
Yeah.
ayoko rin
Totoo.
naman mag-build ng resentment or grudges against you. So sasabihin ko, okay lang. Pero kasi masakit talaga siya for me. So maybe if you can, and I would really appreciate it if you would let me know kung naantok ka na and you wanna cancel our call, or don't
Mm.
promise na lang in the future that you would.
Yeah.
Kasi
Mm.
I want you to, ano rin naman, I want you to stay consistent with your word because I appreciate a person like that.
Yeah.
Parang ganon,
Mm.
that's how you're gonna word things out.
Mm.
You appreciate them, you appreciate them, hindi siya sugarcoating eh. Hindi mo naman siya sinugarcoat. Ano ba? Iba kasi sugarcoating eh.
Just to
Bagets
appease
yun
the
yan siguro.
person. Yeah, parang kasi
Oo.
nangyari yun eh. Para lang wag na siyang lumayo, hindi mo nasasabihin. That's wrong din.
Oo. Exactly. Ayun. I hope that makes sense. And I hope that really helps you
Of
guys in
course.
most of
Mhm.
your
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah, totoo.
Ayan.
So
Sige.
yun, nakakatuwa si Hannah kasi binigyan niya tayo ng real life scenario situation like yung sa boyfriend. Parang instead
Mm.
of whining and complaining na gaya din na sinabi ni Julie kanina na parang wala ka namang binigay na solusyon. I think it's not right. It's okay to tell straight to the person talaga na this is how you feel. And singit ko dun yung natutunan ko din from the last time that I have attended a training. It's called SBI technique. I'm not sure if you've heard it. Parang situation, behavior, and then impact. So when you give the criticism or feedback to the person, you can start by telling them the situation. Like for example, you know what, last night, that's the situation, and then the behavior that they did. Like parang you promised you're going to call me at 10 p.m. I actually waited until 11 p.m. And then the impact nung nangyaring yun, parang
Mhm.
I kept waiting, ganyan, ganyan. Tapos yun, tsaka natin isunod yung sinabi ni Hana na parang, meron siyang sinabi kanina doon na ano yung nagiging impact ng sitwasyon na yun sa'yo, tsaka ano yung pwedeng niyang gawin moving forward. Plus, giving the benefit of the doubt to the person na parang baka naman inaantok ka na, baka naman busy ka, or nalobat ka, mga ganon. Bigyan niyo rin sila ng benefit of the doubt. Instead, yung babarilin niyo agad sila. And a quotation that I've just read a while ago na feeling ko, natuwa ako kasi sabi ko very timing. Sabi dito, diamonds are formed under pressure and bread dough rises when you let it rest. So we're all our own things, and what's motivating to you may be crippling to others. So for me, it's very, very beautiful. Na yun nga, kagaya sabi dito, yung diamonds, na-form siya pag pinipressure mo. So sa human beings, ito yung sinasabi nilang tough love. 'Di ba? Na parang,
Mhm.
naging honest lang ako. Sinabi ko lang sa sa'yo yan, para sa yan. So, papahiyain ko yan para matuto siya. And then yung isa naman, parang, yun nga, yung very mabait, very empathic, very good listener type of criticism. May ganon. So, I think it's very important for us to really know the person muna. Kasi may tao rin na ayaw ng sinusugarcoat. Kaya din yung sinabi ni
Mhm.
Hannah kanina na parang just to appease the person, sugarcoat mo, hindi mo nasasabihin. Hindi rin naman tama yun. So, it's a matter of weighing the situation and proper timing. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's
Yeah.
proceed to the last part of our discussion today. We've shared a lot of insights on how can we effectively give a feedback and a criticism to the people around us. Now, if someone naman will give us a criticism, if someone will give us a feedback, how are we going to react? Or what's the proper
Mhm.
way na tanggapin yung mga ganong criticism? Ikaw, Gilly, ikaw, personal take
Okay.
mo, paano mo tinatanggap ang mga bagay-bagay?
Okay. So, I think looking back at those experiences where I received criticism or constructive criticisms or feedback on what I did or what I did wrong, I realized na ang initial reaction ko is ma-hurt and mafe-feel bad or maybe magagalit that you're even telling me what to do in the first place, ganun. So it's so bad, 'di ba? If you think about it. But at the same time, when you reflect on it, sa tingin ko makakatulong for everyone to accept your initial reaction. Accept what you're feeling. Now, if you received something negative, tanggapin mo that you felt attacked and hurt. But I guess the factor that's very important is don't show it to them na ganun yung feeling mo.
That's true.
I think you have to let the feelings flow and then move on from it. That's the most important part. And then, kapag ka nakahinga ka na or wala yung impulse reaction na magagalit ka or yung itsura mo is ang sama habang binibigyan ka ng criticism, pagkatapos ka na dun sa emotion, I think you have to breathe and then revisit what he or she said and then dun ka na mag-contemplate. Ano ba yung mga mabubuting bagay na makukuha mo from what they said and contemplate on yourself what to improve. So if you feel bad, try not to show it in the first place. Although mahirap, pero practice practice how to do it. Maybe count 1 to 10 or huminga ka muna ng malalim or walk out of the room politely para lang makapag-isip and hindi mo mapakita na sobrang na-hurt ka or gusto mong magalit. Kasi, because if you do, kapag nakita nila na ganun yung reaction mo, and then, edi ang sama ng dating sa kanila. And then, kapag ka nahimasmasan ka na, and then you realize na, oo nga no, ako pala yung mali, edi dadagdag pa yung burden na kung aamin ka ba sa kanila na, oo guys,
Yeah.
sorry about my reaction, na alam kong ako yung mali. Kung aamin ka ba or papasok ba yung pride mo na hindi ko na lang sasabihin, oo, tama sila, pero yung pride ko masasaktan, yung ego ko masasaktan if I admit to
Yeah.
them that I'm wrong, that I have
Mm-mm.
a lot of room to improve. So yun, I guess it's all about managing your initial reaction to the words or to the message that you're receiving, and to always remember na it's for your own self improvement. And at the same time, you also have to know the difference between criticism nga na sinasabi natin kanina, or if that person really just want to
Yeah,
make you feel
destructive
down,
or
'di ba?
constructive
Yeah,
criticism.
you have to figure
Yeah.
out between the two.
Totoo. And sorry, ang ganda din sinabi ni ni Gilly. But to add with
Yeah.
that, it's important that you know yourself more than other people. Kasi,
Mhm.
yun nga, parang kung hinayaan mo yung opinions nila to become your reality, and you know to yourself that you're not like that. Like, for example, that the person would tell you, alam mo, ang tamad-tamad mo sa trabaho, but that was just once. It happened na during that
Mhm.
time you feel so down and you don't have the energy to get up. Pero yung tao na yon, sinabi niya na tamad ka na. But you know to yourself, hey, I'm not
Mhm.
tamad. I'm very masipag. Ngayon lang to. So, yun, yung sinabi niyang word na tamad ka, that's destructive criticism. So, it's up to you on how are you going to accept that. Kung hahayaan mo na ba yon to become your reality, or wala, I'll just brush it off. Maybe next time I'll try my very best. Even if I'm feeling down, I'll give myself a break instead of trying to do the task tapos half-baked naman siya or parang tinatamad ako. 'Di ba? So,
Mhm.
tama din yung sinabi ni Jilly na gano'n na alam mo kung kailan ka dapat makikinig at kailan ka dapat hindi makikinig. Alam mo kung sino yung pakikinggan mo at sino yung hindi mo pakikinggan sa mga nagbibigay ng mga opinions nila sa'yo. So, yeah, that's it. Hannah, any words? Final sentiments?
May ayoko mapunta sa extremes eh. Like, the other extreme is you are so receptive to criticisms or feedback na parang, I wanna really improve. So parang to the point na yung opinions na ng other people, you keep on accepting. In reality, kasi, I'm not saying this, but in a bad way, but that's just how they see you. The important thing then is how do you see yourself? That's why
Mhm.
it's also important to have that
Mm.
strong sense of identity na ganito ba talaga ako? And kapag,
Mm.
sige, pinresent yung facts, lagi kang ang late, alam mo rin naman yun sa sarili mo na lagi kang late. Or alam mo rin naman sa sarili mo kung lagi kang may anger. And you
Yeah.
cannot improve on something that you do not admit to yourself. So that's
Mm-mm.
the true recipe of improvement. And then the other extreme naman is you're so sarado. Like, sobrang sarado ka sa mga feedback and criticisms na, ay hindi, ito naman kasi talaga ako, ganito lang
Yeah.
talaga ako,
Tanggapin niyo ako kung
bahala na
ganito
sila.
ako, mga
Oh,
ganyan.
parang take me as I
This is
am.
me.
Parang
It's
gano'n.
not,
If you don't like
Sobrang
me,
sama
nakakainis
nun.
yung ganun eh. Sorry, nagbigay na kami ng insight ni Jilly. Kasi nakakainis yung
Oo.
ganun. Di ba, hindi, ganito na talaga
totoo.
ako eh. Kayo
Oo.
mag-adjust.
Kayo mag-adjust.
Okay.
Eh, di ako, eh, di ikaw na. Eh, di sa'yo na umikot mundo namin. Parang kaloka, di ba? So, ayun, yung other extreme nga is that type of personality na, ay, hindi, strong ako. Ito naman talaga identity ko. It's just that people hate me because I'm achieving so much. Parang ganun na yung attitude.
Grabe.
So, parang
Baka
like,
naman
whoa.
self-absorbed.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. Napunta ako din sa other extreme na, I just keep on accepting what other people told me, na parang this is something that you can improve on. Tapos, paano na kapag magkaiba yung mga binibigay na feedback ng ibang tao? So, nakakalito yun para sa'yo. So, punta rin ako sa other extreme na parang, hindi, ganito lang talaga ako. There's nothing else to improve on. So, it's finding that balance. Go back to the gitna. Well, ang arte, but go back to the
It's
center.
very
Go
conyo.
back to the equilibrium. Oo.
Gitna.
Sorry
Totoo,
na.
the equilibrium. Parang Venn diagram
Oo.
yan. Ano ba Venn diagram ba yun? Yung bilog na dalawa. Tapos meron sa gitna.
Yung sa
Ayun.
gitna. But
Yeah.
yeah, may
Mm-mm.
reason. There's always a reason why people give you some feedback.
Totoo.
So, ayun, even if the
Yeah.
intention is not good, maybe there's a good thing that you can learn from that. You can extract from it. So, ayun, it's always a
Mm-mm.
learning experience.
Totoo.
Okay.
Wait, sorry pala. Sorry, very, very quick lang.
Yeah.
Nakalimutan kong i-touch kanina. Yung how can we avoid yung pangangatiran? Paano natin ma-avoid yung pangatiran? Kasi ito yung pinaka-common na reaction ng isang tao kapag sila nabibigyan ng criticism or feedback. Kahit naman din minsan tayo, 'di ba? Pag gina-justify natin yung mga mistakes na nagawa natin or whatsoever. I think personal tip for
Mhm.
that is try to um make the person feel that you completely understand them. Whether you're the one who's receiving the feedback or ikaw man yung nagbibigay. So let's say for example, Hannah is the one who's receiving my feedback and I'll tell Hannah na, Hannah, you're always late. Parang try to make feel Hannah first na, Hannah, you know what, I completely understand where you're coming from. I know na you've been busy these days, blah, blah, blah. You have so many responsibilities. But, ganto, ganyan, ganyan. Instead of going straight na, Hannah, you're always late. I appreciate your effort before, blah, blah, blah. May sandwich ano ka, pero hindi eh, parang pilit siya, you know, if you know guys what I mean.
Mm.
Tapos, if you're the one who is, the one who's receiving the feedback naman, and then try mong i-justify dun sa nag-criticize sa'yo, para hindi ka magmukhang nangangatwiran, you have to tell them din naman na parang, hey, understand that you just want to improve the quality of our work, you want me to become more productive, however, I'm not in the mood, blah, blah, blah. Ganon. So, kasi nakaka-pacify yun eh. Nakaka-pacify yun dun sa tao kapag nakamdaman nila na, okay, gets niya naman pala ako. Hindi lang siya basta-basta nangangatwiran. So, yeah. That's it. At
That's so
Julie, I think
good.
okay naman na tayo, no? Nasabi na natin lahat. And,
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, guys. I think that finally wraps up
yeah.
our episode for today. Thank you so much, Dave and Hannah. Thank you to our listeners if nakarating kayo hanggang dulo, and we hope na may
Yeah.
mga nakuha kayo from everything that we have mentioned, every experience that we said in this episode.
Mm.
Sana nakatulong in how you deal with your personal situations. So
Yeah.
yeah, we hope to see you on the next episode, guys.
Yeah.
And I hope
Adios.
you continue supporting us. Bye.
Bye.
You've reached yet another end of our episode, and we thank you.
Send us your support. Follow, subscribe, and listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Don't forget to take care of yourself today. Sending you warm hugs with 5 feet distance. Love you.